And starting in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, yeah, this is Mega Man 5. You can introduce the concept of Mega Man, I guess.
So yeah, Mega Man, it's a long-running series, started out on the NES. This game is the 5th installment of the series. Basically, you're Mega Man, a robot who runs around shooting stuff, trying to beat Dr. Wily's robots. Although in this game, story's been changed up a bit. It's not Dr. Wily, it's actually our friend Proto Man has turned evil, and he's trying to destroy everything with his 8 robot masters. Very original idea, not sure where he got it.
Yeah, okay. Had to get that out of the way. I'll respawn in this room anyway, it's fine.
So Mega Man is generally a lot of jumping and shooting. This game uses the sliding mechanic as well. Sliding places is generally fast, so we'll be seeing that whenever possible. And something that you don't have in a lot of the earlier games in the series is the Charge Buster, so Mega Man can charge a shot. He can't charge a shot while sliding, which is annoying. And charge shots are also lost if you get hit, so that's not too helpful either.
Yeah, sorry, I'm not talking too much in this first stage because it's pretty hazardous and just trying to get into the rhythm of things. So Starman, we don't have any weapons yet, so we just have to use the Charge Buster. He has a shield, but we can actually fire through it if we're close up to him. Or you can just kind of time it so that you shoot him while he's not got his shield next to him. Either works. This is not the best so far. Okay, that's fine. And then there's low gravity in this stage, but hopefully I can get a thing here called Gravity Skip, where you Mega Man jumps at normal speed. I got it, nice. So you do a 1-frame jump at the right time there, and it speeds up that animation of the weapon get. Saves a little bit of time. Alright, cool. So, yeah, so as Stan was saying, we mostly use the Buster and this weapon that we just got here, the Super Arrow, in this game. The Super Arrow is extremely overpowered. It's the fastest way to move, and it's also pretty good at killing enemies as well. So you'll see it a bit in this stage. It'll get more use as we go through the game, though. That's the arrow. So you can see how fast it moves, and then can also kill enemies with it. There's a bunch of kind of tech with conserving super arrow ammo. It doesn't really matter in this stage too much, but it will become very, very important later on.
Yeah, you'll notice that when he's riding a super arrow, generally he'll be running off the right edge. That's because the super arrow only uses ammo when you're standing on it, so by sort of dropping off and having it catch you, it uses, is it about half the amount of ammo?
Yeah, something like that. Because you spend about half your time not actually on the arrow, and then it just kind of picks you up because it's moving so fast. And then yeah, as with all Mega Man games, when you beat one of the Robot Masters, you get their weapon that you can use. Each Robot Master is weak to one of the other Robot Master's weapons, so that kind of determines the route. We always do Starman first because he gives you the Super Arrow, but after that it's just weakness order. And you can speed this fight up a little bit. I kind of jumped up to catch him while he was doing his jump there. It just kind of gets one extra hit in. Most of the Robot Master fights in this game are not too difficult. Enemies have really long invincibility periods in this game. Even just like regular enemies have a bunch of invincibility frames. So you can't really just mash them down, which is one of the reasons why the Charge Buster is so useful. And also boss weapons, because they do extra damage. Alright, so Gyro, you're going to see just how good Super Arrow is at the start here. So I'm going to ride this elevator and then hopefully just skip the whole next screen. And I didn't so I was trying to conserve 1 ammo at the end there by riding on the edge. But it's fine, I can just pick up the refill like that instead. You only want to do the like grinding on the edge of the arrow if you can actually make use of the extra ammo, because it causes a bunch of extra lag, which is worthwhile if you can save the time back from extra arrow usage, but if not, you just want to stand on it normally. Arrow is laggy in general, but it's even more laggy in that case.
So one thing you'll notice throughout the Robot Master stages is the Dactyly going out of his way to collect the letters. There's 8 letters, I believe they spell Rockman.
Rockman, yeah.
Being the Japanese name of Mega Man. This is being run
It's
on
Rockman
Japanese
5,
version.
because there's 8 letters.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
For some reason I thought there were 4 letters
Yeah,
in the
5
word man.
isn't a letter, but yeah, you know what I mean. Oh, I didn't jump quite high enough there. I mean, I have to ride that elevator again, that's annoying.
Collecting those letters gives him access to beat in the later stages, which make some of the boss fights a lot more consistent. And faster.
Yeah, the very last boss of the game is a complete luck fest if you don't have beat, so you really want to have it. And then Gyro Man, the fight is pretty funny. You just use gravity hold, which hits everywhere on screen. Most bosses are immune to it, but it's Gyro Man's weakness, so... You just, yeah, hit him 8 times with it. You have exact ammo, which means you need to be careful not to use it too quickly, or you'll use ammo, but you won't hit him because he'll still be in invincibility frame, so... That's the only hard part of that fight, though. You get Rush Jet here. Rush Jet is pretty much, like, inferior to Super Arrow in every way, but because we don't have unlimited Super Arrow ammo, we still need to use Rush Jet for some stuff. Yeah, so if you just kind of arrow from the start there, you get... Oh, that's not good. I'm actually gonna play it safe here and use... Oh, no! I was really afraid of that happening because now I have to go through that first screen. Oh no, game over. That's actually really good. I'm really happy about that game over because otherwise I'd have had to do the first screen with the droppers again without Super Arrow, which is really, really bad.
So when you
Okay,
game over, normally when you die in a Mega Man game, you'll just go to either the start of the level or your most recent checkpoint, and you'll still have, you won't regain any ammo that you've used. When you game over, you go back to the start of the level but regain all your ammo.
That looks scary, but if you move the correct way there, you never get hit. Even though the dropper patterns are random, for some reason that movement just avoids every possible cycle.
So sometimes you'll notice him place a seemingly pointless Rush Jet. That's because if you've got Rush Jet out and you can fire the Buster while Rush is deployed. So sometimes you might just fire one in order to be able to shoot Buster shots without having to switch weapons.
Yeah. Also back there, I took the top route to collect an M-Tank. So there are M-Tanks in a bunch of places, mostly in the late game. you can only have one at a time. If you have one, the others just won't appear. And I won't use that one I just got until much later in the run, but it's important to have it.
Yeah, M-Tanks refill all your ammo, and do they do health as well?
Yes. Yeah, all weapon ammo and health, and because arrow and later beat ammo is really useful, it's worth sitting through the like weapon refill cutscenes to get it back.
Yeah. Once you get past the Robot Master stages, you don't get ammo refills every stage.
Yeah, you only get it. In fact, you don't get it at all. Even once you beat like Dark Castle, you don't get any more back.
Yeah, which makes ammo conservation very, very important.
Those tigers react to you pressing B. Even if you don't actually shoot anything, just pressing B makes them move. So you can kind of manipulate them a little bit. They reappear later in the game as well. So something else you'll notice with the arrow is that I place it and then like jump off and jump back on before it starts moving quickly. That's just more ammo conservation. It starts off moving pretty slowly enough that you can do that without getting left behind. Yeah, more usage of gravity hold, it hits everything on screen. It's not very powerful, but for stuff that dies in one hit, it's really useful.
So I don't know the lore. Why is he throwing peanuts at you?
They're napalm. You actually don't want him to throw that particular attack. So you manipulate Napalm Man. You want to stay like far enough away from him when he attacks that he does his like rocket attack rather than the napalm, just because the napalm is really laggy. I didn't manage to get it there for very long, but preferably you want to keep him using the rockets the whole fight. So Stone Man's a pretty long stage. It's tough, but I quite enjoy it. It's got some tricky platforming. Jumping over these like bullet mats as they shoot is not super easy, and then and then this is the only one of the 8 letters that's actually like well hidden out on a different screen. You could very easily just find the other 7 just in normal gameplay, but if you don't think to shoot that wall, you're not going to find that. Arrow's also really useful for climbing ladders quicker. Okay, I was trying to kill the little mouse with that to reduce lag, but I missed. So I guess this bit isn't very hard, so I'll explain how Arrow actually works ammo-wise. It costs, so you start with 28 ammo, if I remember right, and it costs 2 ammo to place an arrow, but if you only have 1 left, it'll still work. And then it consumes ammo while you're stood on it and it's moving, but like once it runs out of ammo, it won't despawn. Oh, that was missed a hit there. With bosses, you want to kill them in the corner of the room if possible. In some of the earlier Mega Man games, the jingle won't start until all the explosion bubbles have left the screen. That's not the case here, and so we just want as many of them to leave the screen as possible, as quickly as possible, just to reduce lag. That's all it is. And then obviously you want to be in the center of the screen, because if you're not, like, he'll just walk to the center anyway to pick up the weapon.
Thankfully in this game you're able to walk around after beating the boss, so getting to the center of the screen isn't an issue.
Oh, okay. That's a shame. I was meant to have 3 there. I'll just have to go a little bit further through this screen. Oh, that's really annoying. Okay. That's a really bad arrow to miss. This screen's quite long.
Get to see more of the train mets though.
Yeah, true. And then this is the chicken room. This is renowned as being a kind of technical room, killing these chickens with Crystal Eye. They take 3 each, and obviously they have the invincibility frames as well, so you have to time your shots. I didn't get it, but if you get a weapon drop there, you can use it to refill Super Arrow and arrow across this screen. It's not a huge time save, but it's worth doing if you get the luck. Plenty of health refills, but no weapons. And then this is Charge Man. I'll let Stan explain Power Stone if he can.
I'll see what I can do. So basically, the way weapons work in this is that if you pause buffer, the weapon will despawn, which you can use in order to, because the rock weapon can just takes a while to spiral off the screen. You can use that to make it despawn and then hit him again a bit faster.
Yeah, that didn't go quite how I intended, but I killed him. Yeah, so all 3 of those need to leave the screen before you can use it again, or you can just pause and unpause, which is usually faster. So Charge Kick works differently from the other weapons in that you equip it, and then whenever you slide, you do damage and are invulnerable during the slide. So I'll use it a bunch in this stage to get through some obstacles without getting hit. It would be nice if we could get this weapon earlier, because it's got some nice properties, but unfortunately not. Alright, some skips here.
So basically the normal way you're supposed to do this room is ride the big bubble up. The small bubbles disappear as you, if you've been on them for more than a couple of seconds. That was good. But by riding the super arrows up, you can...
Okay. That was really good. Sorry, I just gotta...
Yeah.
I was very worried about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I skipped riding the bubbles, or most of the bubbles, and then I also skipped getting on the boat here, which is really nice because it skips some cutscenes, and it means you can do this. You just kind of walk Mega Man off the screen, and then his hitbox and his sprite despawn. And you can still kill things and walk around and stuff, but nothing can hit you. I'll reappear once the Octo mini-boss comes now, but it trivializes that first part of the auto-scroller. Also, when you're in the boat, you can't do charge shots and you can't shoot to the left, so that also makes the auto-scroller way worse. So getting the boat skip is just very nice. And then not falling down in the bubble skips is important. And then here I'm just kind of waiting for the letter to turn up, and then I'll get that, and then that's about it. We'll fight Wave Man. There's a letter. If you miss that, you cry because you have to do the whole auto-scroller again. And then, yeah, we just kind of bash into Wave Man with Charge Kick, take some damage boosts.
So for anyone keeping up with the story, we've now beaten all of the Proto Man's robot masters. And now we're ready to go and beat him. He has a castle, so we're going to go there. He has a good taste in music as well, so his castle's quite enjoyable.
Yeah, I don't know how well you can hear the music in the audience, but this game has some solid tunes.
Yeah, NES era Capcom definitely knew what they were doing with soundtracks.
So yeah, from now on we don't get any weapon refills between stages, so ammo management becomes pretty important. And just like routing M-Tank usage as well. That wasn't the correct way to do that screen at all. Ooh, I'm really low on health. That's I'm gonna have to use an E-Tankage. Oh, no I won't. Okay, perfect. Thanks.
Apparently the game wants you to have health now.
Tempted? No. I'm still gonna use an E-Tank. Because I can't remember how much damage this guy does, and also I have a good chance of getting hit by the boss at the end. Alright, so the bosses of these next 4 stages they all look the same, pretty much. But they have different weaknesses and different strategies. This one's weak to Water Wave. It's the only time we use Water Wave in the run. Kind of moved him into the corner at the end there. That wasn't exactly what I was going for, but it still worked out. And thankfully, Rush Jet ammo is not ever a problem. Rush Jet, he's not great in this game. He's really laggy and his movement's a bit limited, but he uses ammo extremely slowly, so no need to worry about that. Oh, no gap jump. I promise this is the fastest way to do this. You switch to Rush Jet for this jump and then switch straight back again. I'm grateful for the health, but that drop is awful. If you don't react to it, especially if you get a small one, you are very likely to just slide off the edge. Again, these tigers react to your B button, so you need to be careful not to like shoot and then re-grab immediately, which is something you would often do to get your charge back. So you need to not do that though.
So this is the first time we see Beat. Can't remember exactly how he works.
Yeah, so Beat will attack when he is next to you and when you are completely still. So either when you're standing on the ground or also when you're at the peak of a vertical jump, he'll also attack. And he uses ammo every time he connects with an enemy, even if he doesn't do any damage. So that's much more relevant for the final boss than for anything else we use him for. So this level's terrifying. It's got some tricky arrow usage. When it goes well, it doesn't feel that difficult, but it's got some stuff that can cause some huge time loss if I mess it up. Okay, so I used slightly more arrow than I intended to there, but I can recover this. Okay, that's good. I want that low arrow and then the other one right above it so that I can get all the way across this screen. And then there's the M-Tank that I collected all the way back in Crystal Man just to refill my arrow ammo and everything else. Yeah, go ahead.
We have a rather large donation here from Steve Marriott, who gave $107.02. Thank you very much.
Good stuff.
Just to tell you guys, we're getting rather close to the 7K mark. Not sure if we're going to reach it, but hopefully we can get as close as we can, because it would be awesome to get there, and we've actually smashed last year's amount, so let's see what we can get to now.
So the stage actually went really well. The boss fight's not going quite so well. I've been hit a couple times, and this dude's really annoying because he'll freeze you with his like paralysis attack, but then he'll shoot at you and just completely miss. Like, he's a really bad shot, and so you don't get like freed from the freeze straight away. But the stage itself went about as well as I could have hoped. And then we have the tower climb in Dark 4, and where we find out Proto Man's true identity.
Is it not just Proto Man, the same Proto Man we've seen in all of the other games?
Yeah, so that was alright for the strats I do for tower climb. There's some faster ways to skip cycles of the tower shaking, but they involve some pretty good mashing and tight jumps, so I'm happy with that. Essentially, as soon as you break the bottommost block, you're on a timer before it all starts dropping again. Okay, so we damage boost through that. You don't want to take every hit that he throws at you because you'll die, but if you just avoid a few, then you'll kill him before he kills you. And then we have this cutscene, which is 18 seconds faster on the Japanese version, and that's the only reason you play on Japanese. The game, the English version is identical otherwise. So.
Ladies and gentlemen, the exhibit is installed to be closing very soon. So can we get your last minute directions for that box? Start collectibles, Hero Stash, Super Loop, Beach Loop, Sailor Apparel, Local Cards, Good Games, Beat the Gong, Of Science and Swords, Wicked Stuff, Safari Servers, and Walking Names. Enjoy your shopping. Thank you.
Alright, so we've got 2 more kind of full-length platforming levels, and then a bit of a boss rush after that. So I'm going to pick up a second M-Tank here, and then an E-Tank to replace the one that I used earlier. There's some pretty tight corridors in this level. It's a toughie for sure. And there's my M-Tank, and then a cool arrow. Hopefully I get this. Just slide under these spikes. I've heard that called the haircut arrow. And then some more to get through this screen. Very laggy. And then the only place in the game where you really need any kind of mashing is to break these crusher blocks and get through in the fewest number of cycles. I should have this. Yeah, good. And I've got plenty of health as well, so I don't need to worry about the boss. So, big pets, the boss coming up. There's a cool strat here where you kind of zip through his body. Ah. Okay. Well, I got to show off the zip, I think, but yeah, that wasn't exactly the strat. So what the idea was, you get those 3 hits at the start, and then use the body zip to kind of stick to his like top level and get the last few shots in. Kind of got caught out there. Was gonna die if I tried to do the actual strat, but not a problem. And then this level is the only one that has underwater sections in this game, and the quirk of underwater, other than being really laggy, is that you can't jump out of slides when you're underwater. So it's a bigger deal in MM4, for instance, where there's much more of this underwater stuff, but here it's just this little section. Some of these platforms are like exactly 1 slide length or 3 slide lengths long, so you need to be careful not to move unnecessarily. Like this one, you want to land on the very left edge and then do a full slide and then jump off. Oh. Also, don't hit the ceilings. Also, take a damage boost here so that I can jump through this enemy and get my charge started earlier. Last M-Tank. And then this boss, his name is Circring Q9. He's a mess. His doors open randomly. You can hit him with gyro when his doors are open. You can always kill him after this like slow moving cycle, regardless of what RNG you get, if you do it properly. But if you miss a hit or 2, then you're gonna have to wait more time. But that went pretty well. And now we essentially have a boss rush. So this is the refights stage. Oh god. We just have to wait for the announcer.
So in
Okay, yeah.
So in typical Mega Man style, we've got 8 bosses ahead of us. Oh,
Yeah,
9.
definitely. We definitely have 8 bosses, yeah.
Yeah.
So we need to kill Crystal Man here, just because of where he is on the screen. And then it turns out that the super arrow is not just good for movement. You can also use it for zips. So I just skipped 7 of the 8 refights there. And you can also use it to get double hits on Wily Press.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the last shot. Register your items to be scissors or distorted. Cards carried. Circuit closing. Boxes secured. Thank you, Hannah.
Aww. I have to wait for him again now. Of course I get a 7. Yeah, so he can move back and forth 3, 5, or 7 times before he comes down. And if he moves 5 times and then keeps going, you know he's going to do 7. And so you can set up your arrows for a double hit. So yeah, just mitigate some of the time lost from getting the slow pattern. But also because I did the a slightly safer setup for the zip, which is 2 arrows, and I attempted 3 doubles. I don't quite have enough arrows for this next boss, so I'll need to use Buster on him a couple times. Nice. So just charge up in the corridor.
And this is Wily Machine, right?
Yes. So he's weak to Super Arrow, because if Super Arrow doesn't have enough uses yet. And now this is Wily Capsule, for which we use our good friend Beat. If we don't have Beat, we can only really realistically hit him when he spawns low. But with Beat, we can do multiple hits wherever he spawns on screen, if I do this right. Time will be when his health gets to 0. So I lost the. I was trying to get 2.5 cycles where you hit him twice and then Beat like retracts him. They're pretty tight. But what we really don't want is to waste Beat ammo. Alright, one more hit. And... time. Considering the deaths, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, so considering I died 2 or 3 times during that, I'm okay with that time.
And they're not going to kick us out of the convention center.
Yay!
Although you would have had to go like 20 minutes over for that.
Alright, well, yeah, thank you all for watching. That's the last run of the marathon, actually.